we have yet another set of opposing terms. They have to do with the valves. On the right side, we have the tricuspid valve, and on the left side, we have the bicuspid valve. These valves are found between the atria and ventricles, and so we call them AV valves, short for atrioventricular valves. The other set of valves are the opposite. They are found at the entry of the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. The valve that is found at the entrance of the pulmonary trunk is called the pulmonary valve. The valve that is found at the entry of the aorta is the aortic valve. Both valves have semilunar shape or half-moon shape, and so they are called semilunar valves or SL valves for short. Both the aorta and the pulmonary trunk are the largest arteries in the body, and they are called the great arteries. They are opposite in terms of their color. Let us now look at how these valves open and close. When the pressure in the atria is greater than the pressure in the ventricles, the AV valves open. Both valves open at the same time. So let's repeat that. When atrial pressure is greater than ventricular pressure, then the AV valves open and blood flows from the atria to the ventricles. The opposite happens in order for the AV valves to close. When the pressure in the ventricles is greater than the pressure in the atria, the AV valves close. So here we have ventricular pressure is greater than atrial pressure, then the AV valves close. The closing has a sound. It's the heart sound, which is the lub-dub. The lub sound comes from the closing of the AV valves. Now let's take a look at how the SL valves operate. This has to do with the pressure in the great arteries and the pressure in the ventricles. If the pressure in the ventricles is greater than the pressure in the great arteries, then the SL valves open and blood is ejected into the great arteries. So there we have it. Ventricular pressure is greater than pressure in great arteries, SL valves open. The opposite happens in order for SL valves to close. When the pressure in the great arteries is greater than the pressure in the ventricles, then the SL valves close. So here we have it. When the pressure in great arteries is greater than the pressure in the ventricles, SL valves close and produce the sound dub. The heart sound is lub-dub. The dub part comes from the closing of the SL valves.